Zimbabwean innovator and inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso paid a courtesy call showcasing his latest invention of the world's first self-powering vehicles.
Would you believe it if you hear Africa is about to launch a self-powered radiosonic car, outperforming other competitors in the market? Engineers are talking about it all over the internet. It's making a buzz lately, a news that sounds almost too wild to be true. We're talking about a possible energy revolution here, the real game changer in power generation. But is the story as good as it sounds, or just another case of overhyped innovation? The technology of the era. At the center of this tale is Zimbabwean inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso, a self-taught genius who's been making headlines with his invention, microsonic energy device, MSED, the cayi saith. Simply put it this way, an electric car that doesn't need any charging, fuel, or external power input because it runs solely on energy harvested from the radio waves that surround us every day. Almost unbelievable at the moment. Maxwell's idea is as bold as it is intriguing. He claims that the car taps into what he calls microsonic energy. In simple terms, while radio frequencies are usually measured in tiny nanovolts, Maxwell has designed a system that converts these faint signals into enough electricity to drive a car. Imagine turning the background hum of radio waves, a sound you barely notice, into a powerful energy source capable of not just propelling a vehicle, but also powering a home. It's a concept that, if it works as described, could shake up the entire automotive and energy industries. The story has a real underdog vibe. Maxwell dropped out of school at just 14 and started tinkering with gadgets long before many of us even knew what technology could do. Over the years, he's built up a reputation for coming up with out-of-the-box solutions, and the cayi saith is his most ambitious project yet. His work has attracted a lot of attention, even catching the eye of Zimbabwe's President Mnangagwa, who is said to support this breakthrough. That kind of backing not only adds credibility, but also hints at the potential for this technology to reach far beyond local interest. According to Chikumbutso, this device can produce endless electricity without relying on conventional fuel sources. This eye-catching claim has drawn interest from many, especially those who believe it could be a game-changer for global energy issues. One of the biggest supporters of Chikumbutso's invention is Foster Gamble, the mind behind the Thrive documentary series. In 2018, Gamble and engineer Nils Rognerud made a trip to Harare, Zimbabwe, to investigate the MSED's claims. Their findings, which were showcased in the 2020 film Thrive 2, This Is What It Takes, suggested that the green power machine, GPM, said to be powered by the MSED, was indeed generating continuous electricity without needing an external power source. Fans of the MSED believe that if this technology gains traction, it could shake up global energy markets and provide affordable electricity to communities everywhere. The potential impact is huge. Imagine a world where clean, limitless energy is accessible to everyone, transforming economies, cutting down carbon emissions, and changing industries for the better. Support and criticism. Chikumbutso's work has caught the eye of some institutions, even though the broader scientific community is still pretty skeptical. There are reports that the Harare Institute of Technology, HIT, has tested the MSED, and a few engineers think it actually works. But it's important to point out that these findings haven't made it into any peer-reviewed journals yet, which makes them less credible in the eyes of scientists worldwide. The Zimbabwean government is also showing some interest in what Chikumbutso is doing, but so far there haven't been any official endorsements or major rollouts. This cautious stance makes sense, considering the groundbreaking nature of his claims and the risks of supporting untested tech. On a more interesting note, it seems that investors from the US and the UAE have reached out to Chikumbutso, inviting him to showcase his technology internationally. This kind of global attention highlights the potential impact of the MSED, assuming it turns out to be the real deal. However, there's been a huge scrutiny and criticism about Maxwell's work. a non-stop debate as to how energy is derived from something and not out of nothing. Many scientists and researchers are skeptical about Chikumbutso's claims regarding the MSED, viewing them as scientifically unlikely. The main point of contention revolves around the laws of thermodynamics, especially the idea that energy can't be created from nothing. Critics argue that if the device really produces energy without any input, it would go against these well-established scientific rules. This skepticism is justified, as history has shown that numerous free energy claims have been debunked, often due to misunderstandings of basic physics, or, in some cases, outright deception. The idea of getting energy out of nothing, often dubbed free energy, is a fascinating one that captures our imagination. It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, where you might imagine a machine that runs forever without ever needing fuel. In everyday conversation, the term free energy can make us think of an endless supply of power, but when we dig into the physics behind it, things get a bit more complicated. The concept clashes with one of the fundamental laws of physics, the conservation of energy. This law tells us that energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. So, in the traditional sense, making energy from nothing is a no-go. Despite that, there are still some interesting corners of science that make us wonder about the boundaries of this rule. Take quantum mechanics, for example. In the weird world of the very small, there are phenomena like vacuum fluctuations, where particles seem to pop in and out of existence. Some people have speculated that this zero-point energy could be harnessed as a source of power. While this idea is thrilling and has been the subject of much theoretical and even experimental work, no one has managed to develop a practical device that can capture this energy in a way that defies the conventional rules of thermodynamics. What adds to the allure is that the idea of free energy often surfaces in discussions about perpetual motion machines, devices that are supposed to operate endlessly without an external energy source. However, every attempt to build such a machine has inevitably run into the brick wall of scientific reality. The laws of thermodynamics ensure that some energy is always lost as waste heat or friction, making the dream of a 100% efficient, self-sustaining energy source impossible. That said, there's still plenty of room for innovation in the energy sector. While the notion of energy from nothing remains in the realm of science fiction and pseudoscience, the quest for cleaner, more sustainable energy sources is very real. Renewable energy technologies, like solar, wind, and hydro, are constantly improving. They may not be free in the sense of coming from nothing, but they do offer ways to harness energy that is abundant and, in a way, freely available in nature. While the prospect of tapping into a limitless source of free energy is a tantalizing idea, the laws of physics, as we currently understand them, keep us grounded. Instead of chasing energy out of nothing, scientists and engineers are channeling their creativity into making the most of the energy resources we do have, aiming for efficiency, sustainability, and a future where power is both abundant and responsibly managed. Reports from TechZim and PR Nigeria have raised even more questions about Chikumbutso's inventions. Some of his so-called innovations have been linked to products that are already on the market. For instance, a hypersonic energy device he presented turned out to be a Braui portable power station available on Amazon. Likewise, his claimed electric vehicle was actually a Cayi X3 Pro EV, a model from China, not a unique creation. Sounds interesting? These findings have led many to doubt the legitimacy of Chikumbutso's assertions and the reliability of his work. To add to the drama, Chikumbutso has reportedly acknowledged in interviews that some of his prototypes only work in controlled lab settings and aren't ready for practical use. The scientific community has mostly reacted with skepticism towards the MSED. Since there's no peer-reviewed evidence backing Chikumbutso's claims, a lot of researchers and energy tech experts are questioning the device's legitimacy. Dr. Jane Smith, a well-known physicist who focuses on renewable energy, points out, "We're always open to new ideas in energy generation, but when it comes to devices that seem to break fundamental physical laws, we need to be very cautious. The scientific method is in place for a reason. It's meant to thoroughly test and confirm new concepts before they're considered true." The absence of peer-reviewed studies explaining how the MSED works and its experimental outcomes raises major concerns for many scientists. Peer review is essential for scientific advancement, as it allows experts to evaluate methods, results, and conclusions before anything is deemed valid. The debate around the MSED highlights just how vital scientific validation is when it comes to assessing new technologies, especially those that could change the world. The scientific method, focusing on reproducibility, peer review, and solid evidence, acts as a shield against false information and unsupported claims. Dr. Michael Johnson, an expert in energy policy, points out, "In energy tech, where the stakes are sky high, we need to depend on thorough scientific validation. There are definitely breakthrough technologies that could tackle our energy issues, but they have to pass the test of the scientific community before we can see them as real solutions." While it's essential to be skeptical of bold claims, we also have to remember that scientific advancement often means pushing against the status quo. Many revolutionary discoveries faced doubt or mockery before gaining acceptance in the scientific world. The crucial difference, though, is that these discoveries must endure tough scientific examination and yield consistent results. As Carl Sagan put it, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. For the MSED, it's up to its creator to deliver that proof." Will and can it? Potential implications for global energy consumption. Should the claims surrounding the MSED be scientifically validated, the resulting transformation could redefine our approach to energy production, distribution, and utilization. A breakthrough of this magnitude could dramatically reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, leading to significant decreases in carbon emissions. Moreover, by providing affordable and accessible energy to remote or underdeveloped regions, such a device would democratize energy access and spur economic development in areas that have long been marginalized. Beyond environmental benefits, the successful implementation of this technology could revolutionize the economics of energy production and distribution. The reduced need for conventional fuel sources would not only lower operational costs, but also drive innovation across multiple sectors. Industries ranging from manufacturing to transportation might experience accelerated transitions to cleaner energy alternatives. For instance, the transportation sector could be transformed by the advent of long-range electric vehicles that no longer require frequent recharging, opening up new possibilities for sustainable mobility. However, these potential benefits must be approached with cautious optimism. History is replete with examples of promising energy technologies that ultimately failed to deliver on their initial promises. Until the MSED undergoes rigorous independent verification and its underlying principles are thoroughly understood, any discussion regarding its global impact remains speculative. This uncertainty underscores the need for meticulous testing and validation before embracing such radical innovations. The challenges inherent in validating groundbreaking energy technologies are significant. Overcoming scientific skepticism is perhaps the first major hurdle, as new ideas that seem to defy established scientific principles must contend with the weight of conventional wisdom. Securing adequate funding for comprehensive research is another obstacle, especially when institutional backing is limited. Furthermore, inventors may be reluctant to fully disclose their technological breakthroughs due to concerns over intellectual property and the risk of idea theft. The reproducibility of experimental results remains a cornerstone of scientific validation. Without it, claims, even if promising, cannot gain widespread acceptance. Lastly, high-profile claims can generate undue public excitement, potentially leading to unrealistic expectations or premature adoption before the technology is truly ready for implementation. Moving forward, a balanced approach characterized by transparency and collaboration is essential for realizing the full potential of the MSED. First, independent verification is crucial. The device must be rigorously tested by credible laboratories and research teams to establish its legitimacy. Alongside this, detailed explanations of the device's operating principles should be published in reputable, peer-reviewed scientific journals to foster a deeper understanding within the scientific community. Encouraging an open dialogue between inventors, supporters, and skeptics will be instrumental in addressing concerns and dispelling misconceptions. Moreover, the reproducibility of results must be demonstrated consistently under controlled conditions. Public demonstrations, observed by independent experts, could further bolster the credibility of the technology and pave the way for broader acceptance. While the potential benefits of the MSED are undeniably transformative, they remain speculative until supported by robust scientific evidence. The challenges of validating such radical innovations are significant but not insurmountable. By embracing transparency, collaboration, and rigorous scientific scrutiny, the global community can navigate the uncertainties surrounding the MSED and perhaps usher in a new era of sustainable energy production. The comparison and analysis. The debate over this novel energy technology is a study in contrasting perspectives, where bold claims are met with pointed criticisms. Proponents assert that the technology can generate continuous electricity without relying on traditional fuel sources. According to supporters, this breakthrough could revolutionize how we power our world by providing a constant stream of energy seemingly out of thin air. However, critics quickly counter that such a claim runs counter to the fundamental laws of thermodynamics, arguing that energy cannot be created from nothing. This contradiction forms the core of the controversy, raising questions about the technology's theoretical underpinnings and practical feasibility. A further area of contention lies in the claimed scientific principles behind the technology. Advocates insist that it operates on novel, undisclosed principles of physics, suggesting that it may harness mechanisms not yet fully understood by modern science. This mysterious approach, they argue, could pave the way for innovations that surpass current energy generation methods. Yet, the lack of peer-reviewed evidence or detailed explanations supporting these principles leaves many in the scientific community unconvinced. Without transparent, verifiable data, these extraordinary claims remain speculative, fueling skepticism and calls for rigorous scientific validation. Efficiency is another focal point of the debate. Proponents tout the technology's ability to deliver higher efficiency levels than conventional energy sources, promising more output from less input. If true, this would represent a significant leap forward in energy production, potentially reducing waste and lowering costs. In contrast, skeptics argue that the efficiency claims are unverified and, in some cases, appear to defy the limits imposed by current scientific understanding. The discrepancy between the purported efficiency and established energy conversion principles continues to be a major sticking point, highlighting the need for comprehensive testing and validation. Cost-effectiveness is similarly a double-edged sword in this discussion. On one hand, the technology is heralded as a potential game-changer for global energy affordability. Proponents believe that its widespread adoption could lead to a more economically sustainable energy future, reducing dependence on costly fuels. On the other hand, critics point out that the true costs of implementing and maintaining such a technology remain unknown. They caution that hidden energy inputs or undisclosed operational complexities might undermine its economic advantages, suggesting that the apparent cost benefits are not as clear-cut as they seem. The environmental impact of this technology encapsulates both its most exciting promise and its most significant uncertainty. Supporters claim that the technology offers the prospect of zero emissions, potentially ushering in a new era of clean, sustainable energy. This environmental angle is particularly appealing in a world increasingly concerned with climate change and ecological degradation. Nevertheless, detractors remain wary, arguing that the environmental benefits are unproven and that there may be unforeseen side effects that have not yet been fully explored. Until comprehensive environmental assessments are conducted, the promise of a truly clean energy solution remains an open question. The discussion surrounding this innovative energy technology is characterized by a clash between visionary claims and rigorous scientific skepticism. While the potential for continuous energy generation, breakthrough scientific principles, superior efficiency, cost-effectiveness, and environmental sustainability presents an alluring vision of the future, the lack of empirical evidence and transparent validation invites caution. As the debate unfolds, the challenge will be to bridge the gap between these competing narratives, ensuring that any advancements in energy technology are both scientifically sound and practically viable. There is a stigma and a little negativity when an innovation comes from Africa, since all its countries except South Africa are considered third world. Is Africa competitive enough for such innovations? Africa's journey in research and innovation, especially in something as high profile as the car industry, is a mixed bag of promise, progress, and plenty of hurdles. While the continent may not yet be competing head-to-head with the established giants of Europe, Asia, or North America, there are pockets of innovation that suggest a bright future ahead. Historically, many African nations have faced challenges like underinvestment in R&D, infrastructural limitations, and lingering effects of colonial economic models. However, times are changing. Take South Africa, for example. The country has established itself as a significant hub in the automotive world. Major global brands such as BMW, Volkswagen, and Toyota have production facilities there, leveraging local expertise and cost advantages. This isn't just about assembling cars, it's also about refining manufacturing processes and contributing to local research, which can later feed into innovative designs tailored to specific market needs. Meanwhile, other parts of the continent are stepping up in unique ways. Nigeria's Innoson vehicle manufacturing, often touted as one of Africa's first indigenous car makers, is trying to create vehicles that speak to local tastes and terrains. Startups and innovation hubs in countries like Kenya and Rwanda are buzzing with ideas, not necessarily replicating the car industry model from the West, but reimagining mobility for African conditions. Think vehicles built for rougher roads, better fuel efficiency under harsh climates, and designs that incorporate local cultural nuances. That said, competitiveness isn't just about having a few success stories. It's about the ecosystem, the availability of skilled labor, robust research institutions, reliable infrastructure, and supportive government policies. Here, many African countries still have a way to go. Political instability, inconsistent funding for research, and a lack of regional integration in R&D efforts can slow down progress. Yet, initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, aim to boost local manufacturing and innovation, potentially transforming these challenges into opportunities for growth. Africa's car industry and its broader research landscape are still emerging players on the global stage. The continent has raw talent, a growing base of innovation, and a unique perspective on solving problems that are often overlooked by traditional automakers. While there's a long road ahead before Africa can be seen as a heavyweight in automotive research and innovation, the seeds are definitely being sown, and with the right support and investment, we might just see a future where African ingenuity drives some of the world's most practical and revolutionary automotive designs. Innovation in renewable energy. The discussion around the MSED is still ongoing, but it's crucial to look at the bigger picture of innovation in renewable energy. Around the world, researchers and companies are making impressive progress in creating cleaner and more efficient energy solutions. We're seeing exciting developments in solar and wind energy, along with major advancements in energy storage and smart grid technologies, making the renewable energy field move at a fast pace. Take Pharmanaut, for example. This innovative agri-tech company is using satellite-based farm management tools to enhance resource efficiency in agriculture, which indirectly boosts energy efficiency in the industry. Even though it's not directly tied to energy production, these kinds of innovations show how technology can connect and influence global energy use. Pharmanaut's strategy illustrates how tech can tackle real-world issues in a reliable and scientifically valid way. By utilizing satellite imagery, AI, and blockchain to refine farming practices, they provide a blueprint for innovation that merges ambitious objectives with practical, tested approaches. The debate over the MSED really shows how important it is for people to grasp science and technology. With information flying around on social media and other digital channels, it's super important for everyone to have the skills to assess scientific claims critically. Dr. Sarah Thompson, who specializes in science communication, points out that situations like the MSED controversy highlight the need for improved science education and outreach. People should not only get excited about the potential of new technologies, but also understand the thorough process that backs up scientific claims. Programs that boost science literacy and critical thinking are key to helping folks deal with complicated scientific discussions. This knowledge is vital not just for judging claims related to the MSED, but also for making smart choices about energy policies and adopting new technologies. Looking to the future. In the rapidly evolving landscape of energy technology, it is essential to strike a balance between hope and skepticism. As society grapples with the urgent need for sustainable and affordable energy solutions, revolutionary ideas offer the promise of transformation. Yet, this optimism must be tempered by a steadfast commitment to scientific rigor and evidence-based decision-making. The controversy surrounding the MSED serves as a timely reminder of this delicate balance. On one hand, the prospect of generating continuous electricity without traditional fuel sources captures the imagination and suggests a bold new direction for global energy production. Proponents argue that such breakthrough technology could not only revolutionize the energy sector, but also address pressing environmental challenges through its promise of zero emissions. On the other hand, the claims made about the MSED have sparked significant skepticism. Critics emphasize that the absence of peer-reviewed evidence and the device's apparent defiance of established physical laws raise serious questions about its viability. The scientific community's caution is not unfounded. It underscores the importance of transparent validation and reproducibility in the development of any technology that seeks to redefine our energy systems. This ongoing debate highlights the need for continued investment in renewable energy research and development. It is only through rigorous scientific testing, independent verification, and open peer review that the true potential of innovative technologies like the MSED can be accurately assessed. Whether the device ultimately proves to be a revolutionary breakthrough or another example of unfounded claims, the discourse it has ignited plays a critical role in shaping the future of energy technology. At a crossroads of innovation, skepticism, and scientific inquiry, the journey forward is clear. The challenges posed by our global energy demands require solutions that are not only imaginative, but also grounded in sound science. As we navigate this complex interplay between radical innovation and empirical validation, it is imperative that we foster a public understanding of both the potential and the limitations inherent in emerging technologies. The story of the MSED is far from over. Its outcome, whatever it may be, serves as a valuable lesson in the importance of balancing visionary ideas with rigorous scientific evaluation. As we continue to seek out clean, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions, maintaining this balance will be crucial. In the end, the path forward lies in embracing revolutionary ideas while steadfastly adhering to the principles of scientific inquiry. A dual approach that promises to drive progress and inspire confidence in the technologies of tomorrow. If not the MSED, are there any other ways to run a vehicle? The energy conundrum. When we talk about creating a car without traditional energy, it really depends on what we mean by traditional. Typically, when people think of traditional energy in the automotive world, they're picturing fossil fuels powering internal combustion engines. But if we step back and look at the broader picture, the idea of a car that doesn't rely on this age-old method opens up a fascinating discussion about alternative energy sources and a few misconceptions along the way. At its core, every car needs energy to move. Whether it's a blast of gasoline in an engine, the flow of electrons in an electric motor, or even the gentle push from the sun's rays on a solar panel, energy is what makes it all happen. The laws of physics, particularly the conservation of energy, tell us that energy can't be created out of nothing. It can only be converted from one form to another. So, a car that somehow runs without any energy input at all would be nothing short of a perpetual motion machine, which has been proven impossible by modern science. That said, the automotive world is far from stuck with traditional fuels. Electric vehicles, EVs, are a prime example of how we can shift away from fossil fuels while still respecting the fundamental rules of energy. Instead of gasoline, EVs store energy in batteries that are charged from the electrical grid, which increasingly gets its power from renewable sources like wind, solar, or hydro. This isn't creating energy out of nothing. It's all about harnessing energy from nature in a cleaner, more sustainable way. Hydrogen fuel cells offer another route. Here, hydrogen gas is combined with oxygen in a process that produces electricity, heat, and water. The electricity powers the vehicle's motor. Again, while it might seem like you're getting a free ride, the key is that the energy isn't free. It just comes from hydrogen, which has to be produced, often from water using energy from renewable sources. Innovation doesn't stop at switching fuel types either. Engineers are constantly looking for ways to make vehicles more energy efficient. Regenerative braking is one neat trick where the car recovers some energy that would otherwise be lost as heat during braking, feeding it back into the battery. Solar panels integrated into vehicles, like those seen on experimental models or even on cars participating in solar challenges, are another example. They capture sunlight and convert it into electrical energy, supplementing the main power source. However, these technologies are more about optimizing and supplementing energy use rather than providing a completely new source of energy that defies physics. What if we stretch our imagination a bit? Could a car someday be powered by an entirely new form of energy that doesn't look like what we use today? Theoretically, if scientists discover a way to harness energy more directly from phenomena we haven't fully understood yet, like tapping into aspects of quantum mechanics, then the answer might be yes. But as of now, all our energy solutions, be they electric, hydrogen, or even advanced biofuels, are just different ways of converting existing energy from one form to another. So, can a car be created without traditional energy? In the sense of bypassing fossil fuels, absolutely. The future is already here with electric and hydrogen-powered vehicles. However, if we mean a car that runs without any energy source whatsoever, that's not on the table due to the fundamental laws of physics. Instead, the real innovation lies in finding more efficient, sustainable, and environmentally friendly ways to harness and use energy. The automotive industry is evolving, and while the engines of the future may look very different from those of the past, they'll always need some kind of energy to get rolling. Thanks for watching this video. Watch out for more, so make sure to subscribe.